I've long had an interest in notebooks, paper notebooks. I love paper, I love my fountain pens, and back in 2015 when I tried to go 100% paperless, there was always this sense that something was missing. I need something in my hand when I'm thinking about something, planning out a project, planning out my week, whatever it is. I much prefer to do my planning on paper. And as you may already have discovered through many of these YouTube videos and on this particular platform, that we have got scientific evidence that we think better with a pen in our hand and a piece of paper in front of us. Now, back in the day, I did law as my major, and I majored in law. And there was one of the lessons that we had there was called evidence. Now, something that's always fascinated me about evidence is that in British law, or I should say English law to be correct, policemen's notebooks are admissible as evidence in a court of law. Now, often a policeman would attend a crime scene and would start talking to witnesses and what happened, and they would write everything down in a pocket notebook. Now, the pocket notebook, in order for it to be admissible as evidence, there is a rule, or the rules, it's called the elbows rule, as in elbows. Now, I think they've been twisting this to actually fit the words, but you'll see what I mean. So the rules are that there have to be no erasures. So if you cross something out, you have to initial it. No leaves are allowed to be torn out of the notebook. And there are no blank spaces. So what this means essentially is when you've finished writing, you draw a line underneath it and you squiggle all the way down so nobody can write anything underneath it. There have to be no overwriting, so you cannot cross a word out or overwrite a word, and no writing between the lines. And finally, the book or the notebook or the pages have to be signed and dated by the police officer. So recently I was contacted by a wonderful lady in Hong Kong from a company called MePlus. And MePlus have these little mini reporter notebooks. And she offered to send me one and did. And I should say this is not sponsored and no money changed hands, but they did send me this beautiful little pocket notebook. Now, the great thing about this is it's called a reporter's notebook, is that it is actually in a vertical format. So I can flip pages across. Now, of course, I am not using this as evidence in a court of law, and it wouldn't be admissible because I am not a police officer. However, one of the things that I do and often recommend to many of my clients is having a notebook on your desk, a little notebook, where you write your 2 or 3 most important tasks for the day on this piece of paper. Now, part of the reason why the police notebook was always designed in this particular way is because no matter whether you are left-handed like me or right-handed like somebody else, a flip notebook such as this is always going to be much easier to write on than a opened notebook. Particularly if you're left-handed, then the right-hand page is often more difficult, and I cannot remember how it is. Particularly when you're standing up and you're moving around, these are much better in this flip notebook. Now, interestingly, reporters' notebooks are also the same. They have the ring binder at the top so you can flip pages over. They're really, really useful. However, this is very small, and it's the kind of thing that you can, of course, put it into your pocket. It fits absolutely perfectly. You can also get accessories with these, like a pen loop, but actually I find if you use the binder, if you like, you can actually just stick a pen underneath that like that, and it fits perfectly okay. Now, the thing is, these things for me is more about what it stays on my desk. This is where I actually come in, and it's my focus for the day. So when I come into my work, leave this on my desk like that. I can see exactly what needs to be done. It never leaves my sight. Now, this is one of the issues that we have with digital task managers. I can go into my digital task manager, I can see a wonderful long list of tasks to do, and then I start my work. Well, one of the things then is my task manager is gone. It's not on the screen anymore. I completely forget about all the tasks that are in there, but instead I just focus on the work that's in front. Fine, great idea. However, what can happen is we lose sight of what is really important. So in this particular example I put on here, I've actually drawn a line down here to prevent me from adding more tasks. These are the two most important tasks for my day, and they stay on there, and you can leave this completely open on your desk. Now, similar to the elbows rule, I would recommend that you do not erase or do not remove any paper. The reason being is when you get to the end of the week and you're doing a weekly review, you can look back and see what you have done that week. I find it very encouraging to be able to see, yes, I did all my most important tasks for the day. Absolutely superb. So this particular notebook is called the MePlus Mini Reporter because it is very small. Now, if I take my Maruman Mnemosyne A7 notebook, you can see that it is actually very similar in size. Now, these are great. I love them to bits because, of course, like this, they're fountain pen friendly. Both of them are fountain pen friendly. The thing about these, though, is they do look a bit cheap. That's fine for many of you, that's absolutely fine. But for some of you, you may want something a little bit more luxurious, something that actually feels great. And also, because I have a soft spot for leather, I do apologize. I just love small leather goods. And so this is absolutely superb because it just smells, the leather smells great. And you can imagine with this color that I've got here, over time, the patina is just going to get fantastic. Now, one of the other things about these, you can buy lots of different inserts. Now, I have this particular insert, which gives me the band, which means I can close it. But also, you can get another one at the back, which I've got here, which would fit a lock, a automated lock in your office. So if you're going to have to go between rooms and you have to use a pass key to get through, you can put the pass key in there so you've always got it. This can be then with you all the time and you can make little notes. You could act as the policeman of your office and write down little notes. Now, I'd say I've written a few things out on here to test the paper. Now, the paper is superbly fountain pen friendly. It's also, what I particularly like, is very, very thin. So what's one of the things I really like about notebooks with thin paper is that you can just write on it. There's no bleed through at all on this paper. And as I say, it just sits perfectly on your desk so that when you're working, you can actually just always have in front of you the most important task of the day. But whether you use this as a to-do list, as in the most important task that you have for the day, because of the way that it looks and it feels and the fact that you've got this little, you can buy this additional bounder. This is actually really good for carrying like receipts if you go to a coffee shop or you go out to a restaurant or something. It's very much in the David Allen little notebook. I had a note taker wallet, which you used to be able to buy, which unfortunately you can't. And basically you would have these as a capture tool. So you can actually, because these are so easy to, I'm afraid I'm going to break the elbows rule, you can actually just tear these out. These can become really good capture tools. If you carry something like this with you, when you're in a restaurant, you don't need to be then constantly opening up your phone and adding tasks. You can pick up a little pocket notebook like this MePlus Mini Reporter. It looks superb if you pull this out in a restaurant and then you start writing down the task or the name of a wine, which I know some people do. You've got access to, you've got a capture tool that you can carry with you in your bag wherever you go. And it's because it's so small, you know, I could, if I was wearing a suit jacket, I can put it in there. If not, I can put it in my back pocket. You know, these are just superb little notebooks that you can actually use as part of either, as I say, the daily most important tasks of the day, boom, on your desk all the time. Or it could be very similar to David Allen's Getting Things Done note taker wallet, where you can actually just use it as a capture tool. Now, with that, David Allen has an in tray, so when he gets back, he just tears them out and puts them into the in tray. It's really weird because I was always looking for that note taker wallet, and by the time I thought I really want one, they no longer sold them. But this you can actually get right now. It isn't actually, because this is only one card holder, so at the back here, so you wouldn't necessarily use that as a wallet, but as a note taker to be able to quickly capture ideas, tasks, or anything else when using your phone would be inappropriate. And let's be honest, phones these days are becoming a little bit more antisocial. This is a superb tool to have with you in your bag, in your pocket, wherever, so that you can capture those ideas as and when they pop up. So this is the MePlus Mini Reporter. You can get lots of the only thing I noticed is there's no lined refills, but to be fair, because it's so small, as you can see when I wrote, you can see on here as I wrote, I don't need lines on here for me to be able to write out my most important tasks of the day, but it can sit on my desk. It looks luxurious, and it's going to lay flat as you are working all day. At the end of the day, all I need to do is I can close that, I can put it in, take it with me into my living room, and when I do my daily planning, which is usually done on the sofa, I can write down the date at the top, the two most important tasks, draw my lines underneath, boom, it's on my desk, it's ready to go the next morning. So there you go. Thank you so much to MePlus for sending me this out. As I say, they didn't sponsor this video, but I did say I would do a little video on it. And it is really for those people who think, well, these just are a bit easy to lose and a bit cheap looking. Well, that's fine. You can go a little step further if you want and go luxurious, so to speak, with these gorgeous leather binders. They do come in other colors, and the refills are reasonably priced, and they're going to last you a long time because the paper is very, very thin. So there you go. That's the MePlus Mini Reporter. It's a superb tool for quick capture when you're out and about and you don't want to use your phone. It's a really good focus tool. So those of you, for instance, who have or have ADHD, these little ways of just writing out the most important tasks of the day and leaving it open on your desk so that you can see what needs to be done, the most important things, you are going to be able to find this really, really useful. So once again, thank you for MePlus for sending me this through. It is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And I will continue to be using this for quite some time as one of my quick capture tools. Now, if you want to learn more about the way I use my notebooks, I would suggest this video up here is definitely the one to watch next.